Modern Ghana, www.pazitoradio.co.uk. Pazito Radio, we keep you alive.
Pazito Radio will keep you alive. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everywhere that you are, because we have different times. That's why I'm giving all those general greetings, and it's all from Pazito Radio. And I'm very honored this evening to have a special guest here, and I would like her to introduce herself, and she will tell us who is, and we are going to have an important discussion. Hello and welcome to Pazito Radio, Miss Dorcas Boamah.
Hello, hi, Auntie Aggie. Auntie Aggie is actually my auntie, so bear with me if I do say Auntie Aggie. So I'm Dorcas. I'm a nurse specialising in nutrition, and I'm here today because I wanted to be here. So amazing! Thanks, Auntie, for inviting me.
Okay. I invited Dorcas because of the work she has done so far as a nutritionist, and first of all, I'll congratulate her because she was awarded. So I wanted to tell her us about the award. Then we dive into
Frozen. Oh, you're back. You're back. Yeah. You're back. It did freeze.
Yeah, all that. So first of all, I'll congratulate you. You've making us all proud. Making us a family proud, us UK proud, and Ghana proud. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So you tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So I'm Dorcas Boamah, and I work as a nutrition clinical nurse specialist in an NHS trust. In terms of what I do, I'm a nurse and I basically specialised in nutrition. So that's my current role at the moment.
Okay, you just said a specialist nutrition, but you went into Nightingale Hospital. And I know that ward is a special COVID ward. So what made you really move into a nutritionist and then work in a ward in ICU, as I can say that Nightingale is a COVID ward?
Yeah, so the Nightingale Hospital is a makeshift hospital. So it's not really an established hospital. It was a hospital where, because of the pressures of that time, this is going back to March, in the hospital, they wanted to create this makeshift hospital to relieve some of the pressures in the NHS. So initially, I saw the government's initiative on the news, and then I felt like I wanted to be there. I wanted to make a difference. So I went to the Nightingale Hospital, which basically is a solely COVID hospital. All the patients were ventilated and intubated. And that is how I got there, mostly, yeah.
So upon all that was going on about COVID, were you not afraid to really go there?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't your field. So just to go there in and entering knowing that this is a COVID world.
So you would have the normal anxiety, the fear that I did have, but back in the days, I think I'm talking about last year, no one really knew what we were dealing with. So you go in with a lot of adrenaline, meaning that nothing is really sinking. So I went in there because obviously, even though I'm a nutrition nurse, I'm a nurse, so I do have all the qualities of a nurse. So my skills would be quite useful in this field. But I was really scared. I was anxious. It was an unknown thing, and I wanted to come out alive. Yeah.
So can you tell us your journey into that place? Because as it was going on, we were all scared of our lives. You don't even want to get closer to somebody. And then now this is where you are and everybody there. So what did you experience life in that, entering that building? What was the experience that you had?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of anticipation, a lot of fear. So I remember going in first, getting my scrubs and changing and just walking down and just being so scared. What if I do have this illness? What if I catch it on my journey there? There was a lot of fear, there was a lot of anxiety. But in terms of why I went there, because they had the right PPE. So in terms of making sure that I follow the government's advice, wearing the right PPE, I know that if I protect myself, I can minimize the contact potentially that I have with patients. So it becomes a bit of a barrier because you've got this PPE on protecting yourself. So I always make sure that I had the right equipment on.
Okay, so the right equipment also helps.
Yeah, the right equipment helps you to feel.
Really want to know, because you did mention a point that we said you feel safe because you have the right equipment at that very time.
Yeah, I think I felt safe, not safer, but a bit safe, having the right equipment. So just making sure that, my mask was fitted well, my gown was on, and then, when I do doff, which basically means that taking off your PPE, I dispose of it properly and then going to wash my hands. So basically just following that protocol. So I think if you follow the system and if you follow the guidelines, you will minimize your risk of being in contact with patients. So even being in the midst of 100% COVID, I came out of it, maybe lack, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, okay. So can you really tell us what's the journey? What did you see? Because some of we just hear and it's hearing sake, but we want somebody who has really experienced to be able to tell us what you really saw or what your experiences at that time.
Yeah, so you would walk in and all you would see is obviously patients who are ventilated and intubated, and quite scary really, because at that time a lot of the demographic were from the BAME community, so Black ethnic minority community, and I remember just thinking, oh my goodness, this can be my mom, this can be my dad, this can be my relative, and you have that initial shock of seeing so many people that you can relate to. So I remember just stepping back and just thinking, wow, Dorcas, can you actually do this? I had to question myself, but I knew the reason why I was there. When you're a nurse, you don't go to work because of your own selfish means. You go to work because that is your passion for the job. So I know that with the right equipment and knowing the reason that I was there, I was scared because, I saw someone that I could relate to. But all I had to do was take a break, reevaluate why I was there, and I was able to come back and actually go ahead and do my job.
So can you tell us what you saw there, like in terms of because some people still don't believe that there is even something called a COVID-19. Something is because people are listening from all over the world on Facebook, on TuneIn, more than Ghana, especially in Africa, because people even think, is it really real? What can you tell us? Because you've seen it.
Yeah. From my perspective, being in there, right in the middle, being, right in the front line, I know it's real because it's not a mundane, it's not a thing where you go to a hospital and it's not part of, what you see. This is something different. You see someone really struggling to breathe. People are dying from suffocation because, there's lack of oxygen. And this is not something that I normally see or something that, the NHS really have got the capacity for. So in terms of, there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of misinformation around. But for someone who's been in the battlefield, I call it, I know that it is real because it's not just a common cold. It's not just a common flu. It is, COVID-19, and it's really serious.
And when you were there, can you tell us more about this being, the background? Some of us coming from the BIM background, and they said, "Oh, we are dying," and all those things. Is there anything you can really educate us about, or can you say anything about it?
Yeah, so initially, I know there was a research that came out last year because the numbers were going up regards to BAME community. And if you do look at the research in terms of comorbidity, so people with like high blood pressure, diabetes, cardiac problems, asthmatics. So a lot of the BAME community had quite a bit of risk factors. So we had a risk factors already, and a lot of us also were in health and social care. So you would call us the frontline people. So both of that joined together, being at a higher risk because of your comorbidity or pre-existing condition, as well as being part of the front line. So bus drivers, working in the shop, working in the NHS, working as a medic, all of that, a lot of that percentage was all from the BAME community. Hence, we saw the percentages of admission from the BAME community quite high.
So I can say that it's related more onto the underlying conditions that some of us may have. And then the COVID just went in. So it's difficult to really.
Yeah, you would say that. So underlying conditions, so pre-existing conditions already, and then plus also working for being a frontline. Also, both of that really contributed, because the reason why I say being in the front line or working for social care or is because when you go out, you expose yourself. So a lot of people were working from home. If you're part of the front line, you don't work from home. Even if you work in like a shop or whatever, you can't work from home. You need to go and actually work. So we expose ourselves by going to work because we couldn't work from home, as well as having a pre-existing condition. Both of that tallied together obviously makes us a higher risk.
So on that note, what advice can you give us?
I see a lot of people not wearing their mask properly, and that really annoys me. Like, you would see someone, the mask is on their lips, but then it's sort of like sitting here just beneath their nose.
Voice on the yeah. We are not even wearing masks at all.
Yeah. So unless you have a condition where you're exempt from wearing a mask, so you're talking about, proper conditions. So, the risk of suffocation, massive anxiety, and even like some asthmas, because the researchers show that if you have mild to moderate asthma, you could wear a mask. So there's nothing wrong with you not wearing a mask, unless obviously you have this feeling of suffocation. So unless you are exempt, I would say wear your mask properly, make sure it's covering your nose, your mouth and your chin, all sealed in properly, washing your hands, following the government's advice, and staying at home if you can, really, and not meeting friends, not going for parties, because there will come a time where we can all come out, we can all do what we need to do. But I think for now, we want to protect our family, we want to protect our friends, and we want to protect people really close to us. So we must really follow the government's advice, because if not, what comes summer, you wouldn't have any friends because you're not protecting them. And because you're not protecting yourself, you're putting your friends at risk. So that would be one of my advice. And the second advice that I would have would be, do your research properly. So as I've said before, there's a lot of misinformation around, there's a lot of things that people think that this and the conspiracy theory. Do your research properly. Go to legit website, government website, giving you the right information. Speak to your clinicians, your GPs, your doctor, your microbiologist, like people that work in the hospital and people that also are experiencing this condition every day. Thirdly, I would say speak to someone who's already had COVID-19. They will tell you their experience and they would say, I would never wish that for my enemy. So get all those things right before you go around saying, actually, this is a conspiracy theory or this is not true.
So from being a background, I want to go back into the people dying, about our lifestyle. What can you talk a little bit about what we can do to avoid in case it happens?
Yeah, so I've spoken about following the government's guideline. The second thing would probably be trying to get fit and healthy. I say fit as in, obviously, if you did have already pre-existing conditions already, or without any conditions, it makes it really difficult if your heart is not used to a certain strain. So I would say get fit, get your lungs going, get your activities going. If you think you're overweight, massively overweight, try to lose some weight. And get your lifestyle in order, because that would give you a higher chance of fighting this. You know, you don't have to give the doctors a chance to say, this person has got diabetes, this person has got cardiac problem, this person has got hypertension. So to intubate this person is not going to be worth our time. Why don't we get this person who is fit to intubate them, because they've got much more chance of coming out of it. So I would say, yeah, getting your lifestyle in order is really, really vital.
Oh, so if two people are there, they can then decide, because some people are just, whatever happens, they can go. So the healthy lifestyle is so important for us to be able to stand in case we have this COVID alongside. We don't pray, as you said, for anybody to go through that stage.
Yeah.
But when it does happen, now it's for us to decide whether we want to be healthy or not, because we have to all be prepared and be healthy in case the uncertainty happens. So it all goes down into our healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then now, as Dorcas is saying, we need to do research for ourselves. The things that are going on that we hear say, I think some of them are even stressing and killing us. It's like anything goes. We just follow everything. But so we have a website that can really help us. So what can we do? Because at times we just Google. We just go and Google everything we see, we've seen it there. So how would we know the right websites to go?
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, I can only speak for England. I'm not sure about Ghana and things like that. So England will have to be your nhs.uk. Also, there's a thing called a coronavirusdata.gov.uk. If you did go on that, that would give you that as well. Public Health England, that would give you a lot of the data, a lot of the information. And also things like if you have an underlying condition already. So if you had a cardiac problem, you can go to their website, the cardiac website, and obviously research. So COVID versus cardiac condition. But if you go to your specific website for your condition, then you would get a bit more information. But generically, I would say Public Health England, nhs.co.uk, and then coviddata.com. I think it's .com. coviddata.gov.uk. That would give you a lot of information there.
Is there anything more you want to share with us in your life whilst you were there? Because I know you spent 2 good months in Nightingale. Some of us were scared of your life, but we thank God you came up without a COVID.
Yeah, I think, you know, the policy in life is once bitten, twice shy. It's not that I've had it before, but is, you know, I have seen patients go through it. I've seen people lose their life. You know, it's not, you're not seeing 1 or 2 people dying. You're seeing about 10 people dying a day. You're seeing more than that dying a day. So I think being exposed to that condition and knowing how real it is, and it's not something that we've made up, it makes you want to look after yourself. You know, it makes you want to protect others, and it makes you want to just make sure that you're spreading the information, the right information, correctly. So, you know, on the back of that, I came back, I started eating well. I was like, oh my gosh, Dorcas, you need to get active. So I started doing that myself. And then when the vaccine program came, of course, I had to. There was nothing in my mind to say that I didn't want to get it. I did it, and I took it.
Oh, that's a very good point for me. So you've had your vaccine already?
Yes, I've been vaccinated about 2 months ago. Yeah.
And what happened to you? Were you shaking? You know, people they showed us on the what you call it, scared us. People would be shaking. I mean, a whole lot of myth about it. That's
So
why you've really helped me with that point that you've had your vaccine.
Yeah. So I think that shaking, a lot of people thought it's something called a Bell's palsy. I didn't have Bell's palsy. I didn't shake. I didn't faint. I didn't mutate. My DNA hasn't changed. I mean, I had a mild symptoms. I had headache, and then I had an achy arm, which is like when you do have an injection, because
like the flu jab.
It's like the flu jab, exactly. So the flu jab, you have headache, and I had some achy arm, and then after 2 days, that went, and then after that, I'm still here. I think I'm still Dorcas. Nothing has really changed.
Okay. Some people think when you went, because I want to us to be practical. When
Yeah.
you went, being from the BEAM community, did they went and say, "Oh, wait, and we're going to change yours. Yours is different from us"?
No, no. I mean, the routine was the same. So the process of it, you would go and obviously book your appointment. So in London, in England, the plan really is for you to wait for a letter. So I just want to clarify that, because there's been some emails going around of like fake people sending letters out via email. So just make sure that you look at the email address to just make sure where it's coming from. But the government will send a letter, and your GP would know about the letter. You book yourself in, and when you go, you're there with everyone. BAME community, white people, everyone is the same. We're all integrated. And you would give you your consent form. You will read about the vaccine, and then you will go to a room, and then there's a doctor there. So it will be a doctor specialized in infection control or microbiologist. And then they would go through everything with you again, and they would ask you if you have any questions. So this is the time for you to say, actually, I've heard this and that and that. Can you basically give me a bit of advice? So they will reassure you or answer your questions. And once you are happy, because you need to consent for the injection. So they give you whatever you need, and then you're happy, you go into a room, they call your name, and they inject you. Nothing special from BAME or Caucasian is the same injection.
Because it's saddened that where I work, none of us in the BAME community has really had the injection.
Mm.
The other whites have had the injection, which I think we are not safe there. I have booked mine, and I will do mine, and you hear me when I do mine. They go
Yeah.
in and come back. We work with them, nothing. The next day they will come to work, nothing. All they will say is, "Oh, this is like when I had my flu jab," and that's it.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking that there's a lot of things that is going on, especially out of our Christianity, to read that this is Antichrist and all those things. But we need to be careful as well. Myself and everybody out there, we need to be careful, because this is, I think, Dorcas, what I have realized, in case now, we from the BEAM background, we are not doing it. So if there is another virus, they have protected, other group apart from the BEAM have protected themselves. We haven't. So we end up doing what? Dying again.
Yeah.
Because we
And that wouldn't be a
mine. I have booked mine. I will have mine very soon. Because I have seen my colleagues, nothing has happened to them. I have seen you, Dorcas, as my niece. You've had it for the past weeks. Nothing has happened to you.
Yeah, I think it all stemmed from the misinformation. There's a lot of videos going on WhatsApp. And also I'll touch on this really carefully, but I would say the lack of knowledge. So lack of knowledge, a lot of things, if your grandmother wants information, it would be via video, send them a WhatsApp video. But we need to do our own research, really. It's time. I mean, they've not used us for guinea pigs. And I know, and I acknowledge it, because, back in the days, we were, we're the scapegoat for research. So I really, really acknowledge it. But, it's 2021. I know that there is that going on in some countries, but things have changed a lot. Things have really changed a lot. And, they're not using us for research. That's not what they're doing at all. They want to protect.
But for the research, anyway, we don't even go. Most of us, we don't even go for research.
Yeah. But in terms of I know that back in the days, there was things where trials would happen in Africa,
Yeah.
Trials were happen in Africa. And that was because it was lack of value, because no one really valued us. But now as 2021, we do have some value. I'm saying we're not there completely. It will take time for them to really acknowledge who we are. But majority, we do have that value, and people have stand against it in terms of research in Africa. So and I know that people think that this will be the same. It's not the same, because they've not used, Africans or the Black community to do the research, because none of us even we didn't even volunteer. But again, going back to that, you need to just protect yourself. The medicine is there, you're not paying for it. Just go and get jabbed. Do your research, speak to your GP.
So what else do you want us to hear? Thank you so much as well, because you've done a lot of great job in there, Dorcas, educating, sacrificing, all those things that you're doing. And I know God will reward you, because you've not been selfish. Everything that you do it. And because you're not being selfish, that's the reason why you've been acknowledged as well. Because you made me proud when I saw you on BBC News for your hard work, for the extent length that you went to sacrifice yourself to be in Nightingale Hospital around COVID for 2 months. Your aunt, I never stopped praying. That's so that you will come back safely. But thank God, because of the heart that you went, you came back safely, negative, nothing, and you've gone back to do your own job. So well done for your hard work for the community. We are all proud of you. We are proud of you. So what else do you, I mean, you've said a lot. These few minutes, you've educated us. You've said a lot from the weight, from how we have to take care of ourselves, protecting ourselves, and all those things. You've, touched every area. So what do you want to leave us with? Before that, come on, please share the video, because we are educating ourselves so that it will go far for the BIM community to be able to also learn a lot.
Yeah. I guess one thing that I would say will be from a lady who is also a Christian. I just want to touch on that just slightly, because I know that a lot of religious leaders are against it, and that's not the way. Like, God gives people knowledge. So medicine and drugs and, doctors, clinician. Luke was a clinician. So God gives people knowledge for us to make medications. So if a vaccine has come and you feel that in your religion, this is against it, or this is against the teachings of God, right? You want to bring it up to God. The idea will be you bring it up to God, you trust what he says, that in everything that I do is via me. Okay? So he's given people knowledge and understanding. You go and you drive your car, you believe that the person that done it is qualified to do that. So we need to trust others and actually have faith in the vaccine, because that's what your religion will tell you. So I think that's what I want to end up, and we need to just stop spreading false information.
That's I've really said, pray to the God that you think is against us and tell him to take control of that. So that's if right. You have to believe that whoever God you are serving is saying something about it, drawing your attention, speak to your God to be able to change it. Because if your God is not able to take control over what it is, then that means your God is a dead God. Because if he's a living God, and as Dorcas said, Luke was a physician. There was a point in the Bible that the Bible says that the woman spent all her money on medicine. So where was that medicine? Where was that medicine? Let us be careful and, read the Bible for ourselves. The Bible said we shouldn't add, we shouldn't subtract. My Bible that I read as a Christian tells me when the Antichrist comes, it will be on our forehead. But this one is here. So that tells me that the Bible will not say something tomorrow and then today changes it. The Bible is still the same Bible. So as we said, we are here to save lives. It's not just in the church that we save life. What we are doing today is because we want to save people's life. That is why we are doing this program, so that it will educate us and we come together as a group to know that this is the opportunity. Some countries wish they had the vaccine. They've not even had it yet. But we are fortunate. When it's your turn and they reach out to you, please let us do it and then be safe. Speak to your God. And I like that version. And we thank you all. Share this video.
Wobetumi etie Azito Radio live ɛwɔ tune ana modern Ghana www.azitoradio.co.uk. Azito Radio, we keep you alive.
Azito Radio, we keep you alive. We do it all. We educate. This is one of the best videos that you will share to save somebody's life. It's not just in the church. Send it to people. This is the important ones that we need to send, rather than scaring people and doing all sorts of myth. And all this myth, Dorcas, surprisingly, is from the BIM community. You don't see any other ones. So please let us share this video, spread this video. I knew Dorcas had her injection, and then she just put it on Twitter. It went viral. I mean, the mayor of London was happy to see that, and I think one of the mayors is in Tottenham.
Yeah.
Is it Tottenham? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tottenham mayor, and the mayor of London also shared it recently. Yeah.
Yeah, because they've realized she still had the vaccine, she's still alive. And she is a testimony for somebody who has worked in COVID for 2 months. I don't think we will be able to do that. So thank you. And God bless you all for being on and share the video. Thank you so much, Dorcas, for your time.
No worries. You take care.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.